And she's like, maybe I should just go back and be a doctor. You know what I mean? I was like, that's cool that that's your plan B. That was my only plan. But your plan B is, this amazing thing. So that's cool. And so, but she's just that, she can work hard. She can do anything. She really can. She's brilliant. I mean, she is talented. She could do anything she wants. Amanie, she's my wife. We've known each other for a long time, and we got married back in 2020. So been very, very happy ever since. We actually met back in high school. She played the flute. I was president of the band, and that's where we first met. And the rest is just kind of history. 16 years, yeah. I saw from the very beginning when she was going to school for neuroscience, actually. I think it was I can't remember if it was a major or minor in French. And then, started making the transition to sales. I remember one day, I showed up to the office just like in the morning with a box of donuts or whatever, and I saw her leading a meeting, and I mean, it was just captivating. She had like 50 people. They were all, eating out of the palm of her hand, hanging on every word she said. She was so happy. I mean, it's like watching a cheetah go 70 miles an hour across the Serengeti, like full stride. You're like, this is what you're meant to do. That's just a beautiful thing. So that's when I think really clicked for me. I was like, oh yeah, she's, this isn't just like a side gig where she makes some money, she's making good money, but I was like, no, she really likes this. She really enjoys this. And so it was cool to see. And my background's a little less interesting. I grew up, my mom was an accountant, my dad was in sales himself, more meat processing industry. And I don't know, I've always kind of had a love for the sciences, and that looked different over the years through college, trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do and how I wanted to, contribute to the world, and ended on medicine and applied for med school, got in, became a doctor, did residency, and now, I'm just a general practitioner in Cleveland, and see patients and enjoying life, Yeah, so I would say a lot of similarities, a lot of crossover between being a business owner and being a doctor, especially on the front end of things, going through school and residency, late hours, I was working 28-hour shifts. This was before the laws changed, so no one's in trouble. So it is. It's a lot of late hours. It's a lot of long hours. It's just hard work. You do. You have to put in the work. You have to be out there grinding. Same thing, with Amanie. She had to get up early and prep for meetings, and then work all day in the office, and then go into the field and help the reps and stuff like that. And then at the end of the day, break that down, and really make sure people are on track and doing what they're supposed to be doing, and meeting up for dinners or coffees and all these things. So both were definitely a lot of work, I would say, and both very rewarding at the end of it. But I think what helped us, it was actually a piece of advice my aunt gave me when I was younger, like high school or whatever. And she was like, you should always be with someone who's busier than you. You know what I mean? And I think that I didn't appreciate it at the time, but it really resonated with me later, because I think it helped, she understood on the days when I was gone for 28 hours, or for the month that I was working overnights and I wasn't home at night ever, and then she was gone during the day and I was gone at night, So, but she got it. She understood, because she was just as busy. She understood, you got to get up early and, these long hours. I remember during COVID, actually, those were very long hours, bad days, and I was getting up, going to work, but I would get up and she would wake up at the same time. And she started her day, she would, start working out, she'd start, doing those things. And she did a lot of stuff virtually, with her team. And then I'd get home and they would be doing like game nights virtually. So she was pulling the same hour days as I was, she kept a lot better attitude about it than I did. So I think it just really helped, having someone who understands that and is just as busy as you. And it doesn't have to be like, in business, it could be anything, like someone who's just as busy with their own passions or hobbies, or who's busy with PTA and raising kids, whatever it is. It was never like, when I was at work, she was at home just twiddling her thumbs, waiting for me to come home to live her life, and vice versa. Like if she was busy, like I had work I could do, or I had hobbies that I could do, had things that I could keep me busy. So I think that always just really helps, with the understanding. That was the biggest life change, was becoming parents. Yeah, which is amazingly, there's a lot of correlations between running a business and being a parent. In terms of like trying to I don't want to say raise people, but help guide and sculpt people into a way where like, hey, you have to show up on time, like you have to do these things to be professional. She does that with her employees and stuff like that in the same way that we have to do that with a kid, like, hey, no, you can't put stickers all over the wall and color on the wall, and like these are things that you can and cannot do. It's a lot of correlations, and I think that really helped her on both fronts, especially in the patience department, being patient with both people that you work with and then also being patient as a parent. So I would say that's been a huge change, is just seeing the amount of her bandwidth of patience increase a lot, and how she handles situations less emotionally, more rationally, with a lot more patience and poise. In terms of balancing being parents, demanding roles in work, both very busy, stuff like that, gosh, I don't know if there's a secret answer. If there was, I'd maybe write a book and make millions. But I think at the end of the day, there's no right or wrong time to have kids. That's one thing I learned. I think we spent all this time like, oh, is now a good time? Is the money there? Is the time there? Careers, whatever. I don't know that there is a right or wrong time. I think at the end of the day, you have a kid and you just make it work and you just figure it out. And I think the most important thing is just staying committed, because you're gonna have bad days. I don't wanna sit here and say like, I do love my life. I think it's perfect, but that's not every moment of every day, and you just have to be committed to, hey, even if is a struggle here or a miscommunication there or a misunderstanding there, at the end of it, like, hey, we're gonna be committed to, figuring it out and working through it, and we're gonna put our heads on our pillow at the end of the day and, figure it out, So just being committed to getting through the challenges, I think that really has served us well, where we're gonna figure it out, we're gonna, we gotta communicate, we gotta make the time, for both our careers, for each other as well, and then also for family. So I think that looks different for everybody. What maybe works for some people wouldn't work for other people. What works for us though is just lots of communication. So if something does come up or work emergency calls or whatever like that, she lets me know, hey, so sorry, this happened. We'll make it up later. I got to deal with this now. And again, I'm someone who's not sitting around waiting for her to come home to live my life, I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever you need, happy to be supportive. And then my daughter and I can go for a walk or, a bike ride, or we can go on the swing or, or go do something else. So it's just communication, you know what I mean? And not sitting around and just like being upset about things you can't have any control over. So one thing I love about Amanie's business is she does book clubs. And so the whole office will read a book together and then come together and talk about it. And I've loved being a part of that, to be honest. Like, I'll bring the food for the book club now and stuff like that. And so it's been fun to be able to have that hobby together. So it's like she's doing work, but we're also doing something together. Like, we're reading a book together, and then her and I are talking about it, and then we go and talk about it with everyone else as well. One of the first books we did was Can't Hurt Me. And so that was, I just loved, I think it gave me a lot of insight into like her mentality and, how she approaches business and life. And that really, I think, pulled me into that direction as well. Because before that, to be honest, mostly what I read was just like science journals and articles and medical stuff. And that really kind of opened me up to like, oh wow, there's all these, you go to the bookstore and you see like all these like, self-help books and leadership books on the shelves, and you're like, it's a bunch of frou-frou or whatever. And then you pick one up and you look at it and you're like, oh wow, there's like some really good messages that are applicable to anyone, everyone, like just makes me a better human. So I'd say that one was probably, I don't know if it was the best one, was the one that comes to mind first, because it was one of the first ones we did. And I think that really set the stage for me reading a lot more books, which has been cool. I would say another book that I really kind of opened my mind to was like Rich Dad Poor Dad, because I think that really helped us kind of get on the same page with like finances too, and me understanding where she wants to be with finances and kind of getting me to that mindset as well. Again, growing up having two parents who their whole lives they worked, and if they weren't working, they weren't making money, they never had like a lot of passive income, stuff like that. And so I'd say that was another one where just like from a financial standpoint, and that really helped me see like, okay, as a business owner, her and I can go on vacation and she's still gonna be bringing in income. Like that makes a lot of sense to me, and I can really get on board with that and see the benefits of that. So I think that was another book that was super helpful. Growing up, we went to my mom's company picnic once a year, my dad's holiday party once a year. That was the only time we ever saw work, or my parents saw each other's work. So at first it was a little weird when she was like, hey, like come to team night. I was like, oh, that's your, like, is it the holiday party? Like, why would I come, for just like a random team night, And it was like, so it was a little weird at first. And she's like, no, like come meet people, see what's going on, like that type of thing. Because I think that also, like, I can't make a judgment about like, hey, why are you doing this? Why are you spending so much time here? Like, I can't say that without actually knowing what she does. And so honestly, it was just like her asking me like, hey, do you want to come? Like, hey, come to team night. Hey, come to book club, And then I got to see the interactions. It made a lot more sense. Like, you get to meet cool people, and you integrate more, and you understand it better, which then makes you appreciate it and you don't have any resentment for it. It's not going to make or break your success, but it can make or break your happiness. Like relationships, like that's important, So I think, just her asking me and me saying like, yeah, I'm not going to be mad about not seeing you and then miss on the opportunities when I can be seeing you. Like, I'm going to go take advantage of those, and then also meet cool people. And then, now like Friendsgiving, I cook turkey every year when everyone comes over. Lena came to the office with her for the first 6 weeks. Like, when she was back at work, like Lena came to the office. Because she owns the business, she can do that. And so like, she gets to bring her daughter to work with her, and still spend time with her, rather than like, unfortunately a lot of moms have to like part ways at 6 weeks. Because I've seen them come back to work and they're heartbroken. They're like, oh, I miss my kid, my newborn. Yeah, it's different, My colleagues are my work colleagues. I've never gone out and gotten dinner with them outside of a work function. I don't text them, or, like, I'll say happy birthday if I see them in the office for their birthday, you know what I mean? But it's definitely different. I show up, I do my job, I professionally interact with all my colleagues. I do like them, but it's not the same, like with Amanie's business, where it's like, she very much she's very invested in her people and her colleagues and whatnot, in a way that I don't do that in my industry. They do try to force that on you, I would say, like throughout my training and everything. Like, they have, so in high school it's like guidance counselors, right? And then in college you have your counselors and whatnot. They do that in medical school. And then in residency they have like, they assign you a mentor. But you usually kind of seek out or find your own mentor who probably does fit a little bit better with just like your personality and whatnot. So I found a guy in residency who I just absolutely love, like Noah. He was great, super smart, nice, but great advice as well. And then where I am now, like they do try, they're like, hey, these are the tracks. Do you want a leadership track? Do you want a master clinician? So I would say that where I work, they do a very good job of trying to do that. But I know other places are not like that at all. I think that I've just gotten lucky over the years and found good mentors and whatnot. Like, I went to medical school and there were people who they dropped out, even after they did all the hard work and got the grades and the standardized test scores and their letters of rec and the research and all that stuff, and made it into medical school. They realized after a year, like, this just isn't for me. Because there are a lot of challenges with that, least of not being the financial challenges. My mom literally told me one day, she's like, you make less than the custodian. I was like, thanks, Mom. In residency. For the hours I work, for what I was getting paid, she's like, you make less. You are by far and away the lowest paid person there. It's like criminal breaks, like minimum wage laws. I was like, thanks, Mom. She's an accountant. She was running the numbers, yeah. I think on average, like if you're going to like primary care, on average it's like 10 years that it takes to pay off your medical school loans and stuff like that. And that's not for everybody. And I think some of them realize that and they're like, I don't want to continue down this medical school path, So, but in both situations, you just got to want it. You really do have to work hard, whether it's in studying and testing and all that stuff, or, learning how to be an entrepreneur, which looks like a million different things. You have to have that grit. But Angela Duckworth, that book's another great one. You have to have that grit, that grind, that dedication. And then, I always joke with Amanie, so going back to COVID, she's like, I don't know if this is really, gonna work out, things are shut down. And she's like, maybe I should just go back and be a doctor. You know what I mean? I was like, that's cool that's your plan B. That was my only plan. But your plan B is, this amazing thing. So that's cool, And so, but she's just that, she can work hard. She can do anything. She really can. She's brilliant. I mean, she is talented. She could do anything she wants. But I think that's where one of those times where seeing her in it and seeing what she does, gives me a better understanding of who she is. And so then I go, well, yeah, if you want to be a doctor, I support you 100%. Like, we'll do that. I'm like, you're okay with like working really hard, long hours, whatever. She's like, yeah, that's no problem. I was like, of course, that's no problem for you. I was like, at the end of it though, you'll be a doctor, and for me, if I show up and I see people, I make money. If I don't show up, I don't see people, I don't make money. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm not a business owner. I don't have freedom of time. I don't have unlimited earning potential. Like, yeah, doctors can make good money, great money, but not entrepreneur money, if I'm being honest. And so I was like, so what would you have your own practice? She said, well, I do my own practice. I was like, okay, I was like, but you still have to show up and work every day. She's like, well, I'd hire more people, and then they would work, and I was like, so then you just own a business. You're right back to where like you are right now, And she's like, yeah, and she did. Knowing that she really values her time, her freedom of time, knowing that she really values that she can work as hard as she wants and make as much money as she wants. Those are, those two things are, core to entrepreneurship and core to what she loves about it. It was COVID. Everyone goes through like that kind of like little moment. She came out of COVID very strong because she worked so hard every day, engaging them and keeping people, keeping that retention up. I definitely tell her that, I'm like, hey, like, don't stress, it's okay. Like, you don't have to work if you don't want to. Like, we do have everything covered, I don't know. She really does love it. She really does love. She doesn't do it for the money. She really doesn't. And sometimes when she gets frustrated with her people, she's like, look, I'm not doing this. She's like, I don't care about the money. I really do just want you to be a better person. I want to help you. I want you to hit your goals. And so she doesn't do it for the money, but she does it because she loves doing this. She loves helping people. She loves the changes that it makes. And then it does. I mean, it definitely is beneficial for us too, financially. We get to invest things and, and put away money for our kids and our daughter and stuff like that. We do get to take nice trips, and so definitely there are a lot of perks, but at the end of the day, it's not about that. We really do. We are just happy. She loves what she does. I love what I do. And I think that's what you need. That's what's important. Amanie, I am like so proud of you. I remember even yesterday, people were texting me about how you were crushing it and everything. And like I said, I know you are, because like I said, that day when I brought donuts in the office and I saw you, I knew right then and there, like, this is it. Like you're gonna crush it. You're gonna do big things, great things. You are an amazing business owner. You've changed so many people's lives, for the better. You've helped them, even the ones that don't work out, they still text you and say, hey, thanks so much for all that you've taught me. You're the best mom in the whole world, the best wife in the whole world. You really do inspire me and make me want to work harder and be the best version of myself for you. So thank you.